AV SuperFriends on Topic is an independent production wholly owned and operated by AV SuperFriends, LLC. For the highest quality recording of all of our shows, visit avsuperfriends.com. This is AV SuperFriends on Topic, a 30-minute monthly roundtable focused on a single topic. This discussion will be opinionated, to the point, and saturated with our well-known blend of painfully won expertise and deeply ingrained immaturity. For sometime in September 2026, it's the best-sounding and most forward-thinking podcast in higher ed. This is the AV SuperFriends on Topic, episode number 78, which I realized the other day means over 6 years of this show. So you're not getting any money back. Broadcasting live across 3 time zones, from the first line of code to the last logic block, compiling commands, triggering automations, and praying nobody updated any of the plugins on a Monday morning. I'm Chris Decter, with your local host with the most syntax errors per minute, and you're tuned in for another Friday afternoon podcast adventure. And yes, I'm coming to you live from a storage room. Dungeon story. It's a storage dungeon. You want some old projectors? They're back here. So.
Whoa. Come on now.
Wow.
It's so dusty where you are. Justin sneezing.
Apparently,
that one snuck up on me. Sorry.
Dustin sneeze.
So I didn't know Justin, where that came from.
Yeah. You're going to...
Ooh, I feel better. Thanks for asking.
Oh, good. Wow. Congratulations.
Yeah.
We didn't ask.
Leave all that stuff in there.
We're going to leave that in.
Never going to dig it
Speaking of a Justin sneezing, let's say hello to today's panel of august AV SuperFriends. Oops, where are we here? Our first panelist develops quote-unquote advanced programming entirely through browser-based drag-and-drop blocks, colorful arrows, and enough nested if statements to make actual programmers avert their eyes. He's a senior visual logic solutions architect from Kansas City. Say it hello, Mr. Jamie Reinhardt.
Hi there. Just like a light switch, just on or off.
I love drag and drops. They're spicy.
On or off.
That's a lot of light switches. Our next panelist ensures classrooms behave exactly the same way every time, except for the inexplicable 8% of cases where the projector turns on, the shades goes down, and nothing else happens. He's a director of deterministic room behaviors from Corvallis, Oregon. Say hello to Mr. Mark Kolozinski.
I cannot get any of these VLANs to communicate. Nothing's online, nothing works, but we're going to go ahead and do it anyway.
What if you had more VLANs? Would that help?
That'll solve it. Yeah. These ones don't work. We need new ones. These ones are all used up.
Or we'll just go to Cisco's SDA and just have no VLANs and VLANs and things that communicate across VLANs. All right. Our next panelist builds self-monitoring, self-healing AV systems capable of detecting faults, opening tickets, sending alerts, and ultimately creating more work than simply answering the original support call in the first place. From Greensboro, North Carolina, say hello to Mr. Larry Darling.
If you don't answer the support call, you don't have any work.
Ignore the problem. There's no problem.
And our final panelist provides executive leadership for turning every AV system into a sprawling, interconnected ecosystem where one button press can accidentally reboot an entire building. Ask me how I know how. He's a vice president of overwrought signal automation from Bowling Green, Kentucky. Say hello to Mr. Justin Rexing.
You know, I had to look up what overwrought means. And overly excited. I should have had Larry's title. It's more appropriate.
I forgot
Larry
to mention
got Larry's
title.
So I got overwrought.
I'm just a manager, though.
Well, no, Larry's title almost sounds legit.
Signals.
Yeah.
Almost sounds legit.
So. As you may have guessed from our thematic intro there, on today's show, we're going to discuss what modern AV programming looks like and what a modern AV programmer should be, at least on our teams. But first, a little bit of housekeeping. If you are listening to this as a recorded MP3, just know that somewhere upstream, a horrifying collection of logic blocks, event handlers, lookup tables, conditional statements, and probably at least one forgotten global variable has determined that you are allowed to hear this episode. We do stream live on Fridays at about 3:15 Eastern, 12:15 Pacific, or whenever Larry finally satisfies the required interlock conditions and the show start flag evaluates to be true. You can join us for that live on...
When he shows up.
You can join us for that live on Twitter, LinkedIn, or YouTube. And if you can't join us live, you can connect us on the socials. You can follow us on Twitter, LinkedIn, YouTube, and Blue Sky. Please don't forget to spread the word. Share this podcast with your friends, colleagues, enemies, perfect strangers, programmers who insist everything should be written in C#, programmers who insist nothing should ever be written in C#, and the guy who built the entire control system in Fortran 77 using 47 nested if statements and a 16-column multivariable lookup table that no living person understands. If you want to support the show, please consider donating. Your contributions help us to keep bringing you the honest AV content you love or love to hate. Think of it as setting a Boolean called keep AVSF running to true. You can find the donation link in the show notes or on our website. Finally, please leave us a review wherever you get your podcast. 5 stars is preferred, but if you insist on something more complicated, we can construct a weighted scoring algorithm incorporating episode quality, host attendance, microphone gain structure, marks punctuality, ambient temperature, lunar phase, and the current value of register 32768. We'll then dump that result into a lookup table, run it through 3 layers of legacy logic, translate it into Lua, rewrite it in Python because somebody said Lua is stupid, rebuild the whole thing in a configurable no-code platform because Python is stupid, and ultimately discover that all we really needed was one button labeled Listen to AV SuperFriends. Thank you for your support. We could not do this show without you.
Stupid.
There you go. So I'm pretty sure I covered every
Yeah, all of it.
higher level
I mean,
language in there. I think I got them all.
Yeah.
I'm
I
right.
mean, I'm punch cards.
I didn't get that far.
Did
Sorry.
we need to go any? Did we need to progress much
Like
further
the
than
Scantron type stuff. Dude,
the holes in it?
I'm not
Yeah.
sure why we had to get past just a button press and
Well, that is a good.
So,
question.
to that point, Jamie, today's topic is, and I think we have generically described this as, what does modern 2026, and specifically, I want to set some rails around this, specifically on our teams, what does modern AV programming look like? What does a modern AV programmer look like? How are we treating this? Because there's a lot of kind of, let's just say, is it fair to say legacy? Historical historical weight that comes with some of this stuff?
Ooh, there's a lot of streams that are crossing here.
quick
That-
poll.
that was a lot
Who
to
actually has
process,
a program?
Louise.
Well, I want to start with this because I
Oh,
just want to get it off my chest
Okay.
real quick. This is just watching from afar here.
Something's
A
on
lot
Mark's
of folks
chest.
like to aspire to that programmer title because it pays more and it's a lot of the stuff they're already doing. So I think that there's the pay scale of the title, and I want to make sure that this conversation is not like
Well, pay scale or not, there's the title.
the title exactly. Like I don't want to talk about like, oh, I want to get there because that's like the holy grail of AV.
Why don't we
I
start
wanna
with
do
that? Who has a position on their team with the word programmer or programming or whatever in the title?
I still do. Yeah.
There's
Yep.
one.
We do. I
And
do.
Justin, I think, is raising his hand.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
I do not. Mark?
But it started that
You
way.
have
so
one?
It's not going to.
Okay.
It's not going to
Chris?
change. We're not going to
No.
change titles.
How about your
change.
previous?
Nope.
I mean, I know your
So as close as I got in the previous role was control systems engineer,
I like
but
that better.
the the word programmer was or programming was not there.
yeah. I haven't had a title or AV spokesprogrammer in
And
almost
Larry
a
can,
decade.
yeah, I was gonna say Larry could back me up. Nor was it the case at IU.
But that's because every engineer had to know how to program.
So, well,
that should-
also everybody
That is
there was
a
an
prerequisite
engineer.
anyway.
So
Yeah.
they gave out the title like engineer, like Halloween candy.
Yeah, they did.
Mark, I don't
Halloween
think we had
engineer.
programmers at OSU in that sense with that word in the title.
Yeah, it's a little bit different, but it's very, 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 very similar though.
Is the word in the title?
I think it is.
Damn it! I'm trying to think how far back
here's
I
the
can
next
go.
question. Here's a follow-up question. If you have a official programmer titled person on your campus working for you, is there other people that actually program?
And I think that's where
person?
Mark's going.
Yes.
Yeah.
That answer
Same.
is yes for me. So it's
Yeah.
like
And so I'm not saying they're not doing good work. That's not what this is. I just feel like I want to check in where we are now, and I'm going to look at the crystal ball and look forward a little bit. Right. And so I'm not really too concerned with how we got here
Where's my harp?
because we know the story and we know how this goes. I hear, and I've seen it on a lot of message boards as well. Like, oh, I want to become a programmer. Do I need to become a programmer?
Oh wait, that's back in time. Sorry.
Right. That's close enough.
Well, I got
the
a better
future's
way
going to look
somewhere.
like the past.
Hold on, I got this one.
Oh, there it is. Here we are. Now that we're here in the year 2027, 6, wherever we're at right now,
2027.
we have made it past the future. Do we still need these
we
programmers?
made it past the future.
We're past it, which we are now in the past. Anyway,
I
I'm
don't
curious
know.
because
Okay.
yes, there's a lot of programmatic style configurator stuff going on. Configurizonator
Ooh,
going on.
Configurizonator.
But I looked up. Let's just start with the definition of programmer, as
No.
brought to us by Wiki.
No.
Is this how we're going to do this? It's
Nope.
like a high school report.
Well,
Webster defines programmer as
computer programmer or coder is an author of computer source code or someone with the skill in computer programming. Professional titles, software developer, software engineer, may be used for jobs that require a programmer. Okay, that really solves nothing. We're right back to where we were.
Yeah, you made it worse.
Yeah, and then it prattles on for a good 10 pages of nonsense here of the history of where it comes from. And I'm just curious how much complex, bespoke, unique, actual, no joke programming is still going on, or do we forecast moving forward? Do we see a lot of that still on the horizon? And nobody wants to say no because they don't want to feel bad.
Well, I think
I'll be the first to say no. I don't.
Yeah. To parse that, right? Yes, I do see attempts at having bespoke programming, but not necessarily from our internal teams of people. It's usually from outside, so integration or somewhere else where they want bespoke programming because, because they support the code, they support the modules, and you have to call them in order to support those codes and modules. If it's coming from outside it's coming outside the house.
I don't like any of that.
But inside,
I'm not comfortable with the future at all.
I'm who cares about the future?
Oh, okay, making sure.
Look, I'm focused on yesterday.
I will put us back in the future so fast.
But I do think that, like, internally, and like I said,
back in the future,
in the good old days of AMX,
Ooh, I like that.
Panja.
Oh, here we go.
But I think internally, like I saw this a while ago, and we kind of stopped having a bespoke programming because 99% of any system, and we do some more complicated things, didn't need it. We just don't. And it's getting easier and easier by the day. And so having syntax, having semicolons, having right, who cares? Use the drag and drops. Let's move forward. Let's go.
Tasty.
Make it easy. Have every single technician or ready to go. Have one or two that's can handle it at a higher level, and everybody can now support everything at all times, and you just don't have the issues.
Has the tide just lifted all the boats? Like it has all of that just become more just nascent. Like all this is just kind of taken for granted that we're all going to have some level of like micro coding / advanced configurizing. Like it's just native, and then like it's just in the base now.
I think. Well, so you mentioned a couple things there, but
Let me just throw a grenade in here. I'll see you guys later.
Most systems these days, and again, I think our there's always those unicorns, and always got my multi-purpose athletics, voting booth space or whatever the heck it is. Also, gas station. Those are very strange. Most spaces are entirely configurizable these days. So who's touching code? And in fact, we even see Crestron has come out with what's their newest one called? Potato
Garbage?
7.
Hot garbage.
The other one.
Dumpster fire.
Construct, all that stuff.
They're pushing hard into like this. You just get it out of the box. It's configurable. QSys, who kind of made their name on being it's block diagrams and it's it's block logic and all the rest. Now they even have a simpler version again. We see this every now and then. AMX had their Rapid Project Manager or whatever it was for years, like Crestron Studio. So these things seem to come and go, but even the ones who are kind of like they make their money on very large, or the capability to do very large complex systems, are now recognizing that, well, the audience has shifted. We need something that's even simpler than our simple versions. And so we're seeing that to the point where you can now do entire systems, and you've been able to for years. I get it. Extron people yelling at me right now, but you could do entire systems without touching a line of code anywhere, and there's nothing wrong with that. And Jamie, to your point, that casts a wider net, to use a mixed metaphor here, to include more people with the capability to be able to do that.
Cool. We're out of here.
Yeah, there's another layer to this.
There's a lot of layers.
What?
Nope.
No. So
There's no other layer.
There's another higher
there's
layer
a lot of people out there
this.
like, oh, but my data says it needs to have this unique hook and blah blah blah. And you're not wrong. I'm not saying that your support system or whatever, like you can need all that, but is that just an opportunity to rethink those other things?
I was like, yeah.
Like, are we pearl clutching complexity that does not need to be the case anymore.
I agree. I think that's it.
So
Get him, Justin. Get him. Get him.
What do you mean, nah?
He's got to take the opposite stance of me. And he's trying to figure out. How to
no,
do it.
it's further. It's a little further than that, and I don't want this to turn into a side discussion of AI, but
No, it's going
It's
to.
there,
I'm
though.
just holding it. I'm just waiting. You
it's-
open it up, and I'm going to get
Justin,
out.
if you're going to go there right now, put a pin in that for about 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So-
we're going to come back to that.
See,
Yeah.
see, Cam's on. He's on it. He's leading. You're leading.
I was
like,
this,
there's-
Cam.
do the same thing.
I don't know anything about code, and there's nothing I can't code.
Right.
I'll just leave it at that.
And yes.
I buy that's part of the evolution too, but
So I was going to make that whole
Then
argument. but
manufacturers are going to touch in on it, but I'm supposed to put a
They
pin
already
for 5
are.
minutes. So I got my
But no,
timer
well,
going.
So
I was about to say the same thing when Jamie said they were outsourcing their bespoke stuff.
no. I see when it's outsourced.
Yeah.
The outsourced company relies on bespoke code because it makes more service
Okay.
money for them.
It's money.
That's what I intended
Well, and
to
there's
say.
there's still
There's a way
very
around
much,
that now too.
Yes, but there's still
Yes.
very much an attitude of look how cool this is.
Mm-hmm.
I'm running this entire facility and in the town, 2 counties over,
Mm-hmm.
with this one program.
I'll
Right.
show you. Cool.
I would almost rather hire somebody that had like real, user interface and graphic design chops,
yes,
because we're getting into this world where being able to understand user interfaces and being able to understand backgrounds on our project. I mean, some of that graphic design. I mean, that eyeball, that artistic look at it. I would almost rather have that person than a bespoke syntax coder.
I mean,
Well,
the
even more than
UX is
just the
important.
look, the user interface, understanding how to present the material, and also the accessibility. There's so many aspects there that I do think there is a need for that role, but I'm not sure it's in the hard coding anymore. It's more in solving.
I think, and I'm going to go on a limb and probably catch a lot of flack for this.
Well,
I think we hold on to a lot of legacy approaches to how room control needs to be, to include the touch panels, to make things complex for no reason other than that is our job.
Well, and that's I was going to say. Look, but user interface to me also goes outside of just the graphical. Maybe to you, you guys know I like using buttons and switches and
Yeah.
something tactile. What's a person just used to use, and whether you have to touch something or not. That's an argument that Mark likes to make.
But yeah,
But there
there's
are
a lot of
times where
whiz-bang
you
for
just
the
want to
sake of
touch one
whiz-bang.
button. You
Right.
just want to touch a button and it lights
Get it?
up green and it turns on like your lights in your house.
Well, I mean,
my
Jamie, you got a
alarm.
point because, there's a science to user interfaces. There's a reason why our car
Right.
dashes are
Well,
all
yeah.
the way they are now.
Wow,
And-
they're garbage now
well,
Get off my lawn.
because it's cheap,
But-
not because it's a good user interface.
but you're right. I mean, there's going to be
about
more value
utility.
in laying out a touch panel correctly. If you can program a system and it works perfectly in programming, that doesn't mean that
Christmas somewhere.
the layout.
Yeah, what the hell's that?
It's a damn cat,
Reindeer.
dude. Cat's like.
I was like, I'm not
Season-
pushing buttons.
I think the
Hands
cat's
up.
having a seizure or something. Just ignore it. Should be fine.
Just-
I didn't
There's
think
going to
that
be
was-
more.
Man. Anyway,
There's
okay.
going to be
yes.
more. Now you distracted me. Yeah. There's going to be more
hamster wheel.
eyes on the dashboard, and why is this button over here? Why do I have to flip 4 pages to get to this main function I need? So
That's
there's a
what I'm
lot
saying.
of science and a lot of thought that needs to be put in. But you can you lay out the dash, you lay out your user interface first, and then do programming. And
I
programming
don't want to
takes
have
5
user
minutes.
interface to begin with. Like that's the point I'm making. Like,
Well,
yeah, and I know that's a different
You
conversation.
don't want to lay it out.
I don't
You
want
don't
He's
to
saying,
have
he's saying
that.
doesn't want a touch panel and a GUI.
Like,
Yeah,
I will say
95% of my rooms do not have touch panels anymore.
I'm saying when you do, it's
well,
Yeah, and,
I-
but
let's get past that.
there is a place where, and yes, and we need to move on from the GUI touch panel
Yeah.
whatever thing. But
Right.
there's a place where people say, look, if I'm paying $35,000 for this room, it better be that like executive look, and I want a touch panel and all that stuff. So I get it.
That was
That's
the point
where
I was going to. I think there's a lot of people screaming like, "Oh, our brand management, it's got to be the."
fine, whatever.
I don't care. It's HTML. I don't care if you're using something else. It's HTML. That's what it is at this point.
Or are you now delivering a fully configurable MTR, Zoom room, whatever experience? You're not programming any of that crap.
Fine.
You're going into the web
Yeah.
interface and
Let's
making 3
go.
drop downs
Bring
and
it
off you
in.
go.
Yeah, and so there's that whole piece, right? to me, the capabilities of our systems at this point are so much more possible, I guess, like that we don't need to be in the coal mine doing all this hard programming. It can do that. It's still being done. It's being automated. For those that are dabbling in the AI thing and you're doing a lot of this work and you're doing the thing, I make HTMLs as if they are just disposable documents. Literally, I will share a design, quick, interactive. Here's an HTML, and it's just a disposable artifact that's used for that one time. And guess what? It's gone. That may seem wasteful, but I can communicate a lot really fast and have Claude or whatever just make an interactive design. Somebody just click through. Oh, cool. Yeah, I can get all this information. So the ability to create these things on the fly has never been more possible than it is now. Am I a programmer for that? No, I'm not. Is it doing what used to take a whole room of people to do over weeks on end? Probably, but it's immediate right now. I did full-on TCP/IP switch programming in 10 minutes yesterday. Bang, done. Am I a programmer? No, I'm not. So I think we all collectively have much more ability that it's time to rethink like that piece. Is there a place and should they be doing this? Yes, we do probably need it. But I don't think looking forward, we need to have just this one person. I think it needs to be more of a distributed capability.
Right. Well, and I think Mark, you can argue that with multiple positions in IT. So,
absolutely.
For example, network engineers. How many managed network switches have we set up recently? Are any of us network engineers?
Right.
No.
Well,
really.
my friend Claude is.
Claude will do it.
Here we go.
Right.
So, Mark, you mentioned something there I did want to touch on that you kind of, I thought you were going a different direction with it.
Maybe I will. What's it? What do you want me to do?
It's the magic 3 letters API.
Yeah, sure.
So a lot of these, as let's say devices, ecosystems, systems, whatever you want to say, have matured and they have mostly documented. I was going to say fully documented, mostly documented, poorly documented API and RESTful access to things. It's the sort of thing where we can leverage that to do a lot of automation that wasn't possible previously and would ordinarily require a whole amount of bespoke and custom programming to get that far that can be done with things that are, it's because the libraries are there and we're leveraging capabilities built into it without it necessarily needing someone to sit there and hack through libraries of stuff because that's the way they've always done it. So I think we've seen, as things have matured, we've seen a lot of that capability, the necessity of that capability get removed as well. And I think that's kind of running in parallel with kind of your concept.
Data multi-direction being wrangled and pointed and traversed. And things are happening because of it, right? And it just brings a whole new level of capability that we just never had. That used to just take so much longer than it does now. And I think that's the whole... where does code generation sit in the labor pool at this point in time? Like where?
Everywhere.
It's everybody's.
Well, absolutely, right? Justin. It does. It is everywhere. It used to be something that was held kind of, these 3 people are the ones who know.
Right. And more.
In fact, they've encrypted it and put it behind a paywall, and now you can't get to it.
I'll crack that shit. I don't care.
I'll make a new paywall and put it inside that one, and they can't get to it. Yeah.
Putting on the AI super cape, you can do anything.
But I still don't want to say, we don't need to program. We obviously still need this level of knowledge.
It's the knowledge, it's the expertise, and it's the ability to leverage that based on user experience and user interface. Whatever that, and by user interface, I mean what the user interfaces with, not necessarily the graphical version of it. Having that knowledge is still absolutely, paramount to being able to be successfully successfully deploy these systems. It's not something that is limited to.
That's pushing it.
No. I think it's very
paramount's too strong of a word.
Who's capable of.
Do you want to be okay? It's tantamount to. Are you better with that instead of paramount? I didn't say apogee. I didn't say apex. How many words do you want for this?
It's not needed.
It is needed though. To do
I think there is
the utility of getting code somewhere as the quality of having code.
Oh, Justin's going to fight.
For successful systems, you need to understand.
I think there's a core level of understanding of you have to understand how it all works, even if you don't.
That's a start. I'll agree
because
with that.
you need to understand that there is a communication pathway.
No, you don't. If we're going to go this far, you've all seen it. There's lots of systems out there where it's clear they don't understand A, how it works, or B, how people interact with it. So to Justin's
But
point,
those aren't
Well,
good.
I'm just saying, just because you're not a programmer, I don't think anybody here. Well, Larry may consider himself one. Used to, maybe not anymore. But
Larry spent 27 years.
But
in
we
the
kind of
coal
all
mines.
have the understanding of okay, so there is if-thens, there are tables, there are APIs, there are these things. It's like, help me write this thing. I need to communicate with that thing. How? Well, I'm going to do it over the net. So there are some principles at play here that you kind of have to understand. You don't have to understand all the nitty-gritties. Some folks, they don't really desire, or they don't understand how any of that stuff works. Therefore, even just prompting a prompt to prompt out the final product makes it really difficult.
I don't know.
So if your grandmother would be able to code what you needed to code.
Mark, you have to read that for people who are listening only.
Yeah, that's a lot of words.
Mark's muted.
And you're muted. So
Yeah,
that's
and you're
gonna be
muted.
harder.
Good job,
He's
Mr.
talking to
Screen
AI
Share on
right
an
now.
audio file.
And
For
my
those of you
phone
listening,
rang,
Mark
same
is
time.
sharing an entire
I'm sharing
line
it,
of
this
slop
is me
code.
coding, slopping away over here, but it works, right? This is the Python script running a small HDMI switcher that an agent just runs, and you can speak into it, and it just changes and goes away, right? And all the stuff here, do I know what all this stuff does? No. Does it work? Yes.
But you're also leveraging the API that the manufacturer has now written. for
I don't
that.
know. The hell, man, because sometimes I get in there, I'm like, how do I control this thing? And they're like, well, you could do it this way, this way. It's got an API. It's like, I don't know. I don't care. It doesn't matter.
Right. I'm just like, make it work.
I don't give a
Make
shit
it
if
work.
it's got an API or not. I'll
It
find
went
a way
out,
to control it.
It said, okay, let me ping it. Let me see what's possible. Oh, it worked. Okay, so it SAT it
Yeah.
grabbed it. It said, yep, it's working. It responded. Let's go. Okay, here's the string. It's this TCP/IP command, and that's HDMI 1. This is HDMI 2 output. Okay, we're done.
Like I
Okay,
programmed.
I think what I
That's
would
it.
push back on is you didn't know how to code, but you knew what the end result
I
needed
knew
to be
it-
through all your experience.
And yes,
And I think that's why the programming role is developing more into an engineering role where you can understand what the
Justin's gonna
system
fight that
is
one, too.
supposed to do.
But I
Except for
think-
Justin. Justin just doesn't care.
I think it's just going to morph. I think what we expect of a programmer in the future is the ability to orchestrate all of this stuff
Yes.
more rapidly.
So see
Right.
what I'm doing here? See that?
No, we don't
No,
see
because
any of
it's
that.
a podcast.
It's he's
Okay.
zooming in and out of his camera. He
And then my camera can go up and down?
down. Yes.
Oh, very basic, right? So I didn't know how to control this camera that I'm controlling. I just said, hey, I want to control this camera. It's at IP. Go figure it out. Push the code. Done. That's it.
Right. And so I think you have a lot more capability than you historically have had in a much faster timeline, right? And so we can exponentially be more productive for all the things that historically were programming work. We can do much more of that and cover a lot of ground faster. So I think the requirement still exists, but what does a programmer do in the future for us? Is it just this kind of work? Are they just doing a lot of this type of API work and all that? Or are they code by code writing the thing, doing the stuff and sending it? And all,
I think programmers traditionally had pretty good way of laying things out, at least ours does, as far as user interfaces. I would spend more time having that person do that job than actually coding, because that's more important when you're customizing a user interface when you have that.
I think for the most part, and what we've all basically said is that no, the bespoke programmer, the coding, the actual syntax person is not really necessary in our way of life. Now, it is necessary in other places, but maybe not for us, not in our worlds, not in how we are deploying systems. You know, we're not writing device level firmware. That's not what we're doing.
That's different.
We
right?
can.
I know,
Let's go.
but that's my point is that for
Right.
our worlds, we don't need it. We just don't need it. And so having an
Somebody is
engineering
screaming out there,
level,
"Well, who do you
that's-
call when it doesn't work?"
If you recall at the beginning, I said I want to put rails around this. This is on our teams.
Yes.
Because there's people driving right now yelling at their car stereos. That's fine, mister. You made a cruise ship work. Okay.
Well, and I don't understand why even with some of these tools available, we have some of our peers out there. They're like, well, we're going all scripting or we're going all this. We're like, why?
Yeah.
Why?
I
Why
don't
would you
care.
lock yourself out of your stuff? Just
Jamie, the
use the
salesperson, said
configurator.
so.
To me, like if I hear we're all scripting all the time, I'm like, great, cool, I'll do that all day. I'm
5
cool,
minutes.
Let's go.
We're
Yeah.
done.
yeah. Why are all
Whenever
your staff
you-
having to do this? Why are
open
we
code will
reading
be for
through
free.
all that?
Fine, yeah.
Why are we doing that? Do you need it? None
No.
of you are doing anything more. We're all in the same ballpark. None of us are doing anything crazy.
Well, that's the thing is we shouldn't be doing anything crazy.
Right.
But a lot of us, and I'll just say universities in general, tend to do things that are nuts and crazy because they can, not because it's necessary.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean,
I running 40 MPSs still live on your
No,
campus.
that's just you guys being economical.
more
I'm just saying
influence?
I have seen full-on classroom spaces in the past where you go up and you hit a button and you get the splash screen or not splash screen, you get the info screen. On the info screen there's a drop-down menu. When you select the menu, little things appear, and it's just, why are we doing this? Why did you make this 17 layers deep?
Right. Like how much do we need to have in there where it's like that's just a web page now? Like, do I need a if
Should
your
be
touch
less
screen needs a
than-
keyboard and mouse to get around it, you have too much shit going on.
Should be less than 3 button presses away from your end result,
Also known as a button panel.
if not none.
I was going to
Light
say, why
switch.
3? You did maybe 2.
I just want one button.
Is that all?
Boom, done.
And it doesn't even have anything to do
Voice
with it.
control.
What's that button say?
Yeah.
You press the button.
Go.
and
It says
say go, and
boom, done.
All it does, that's not even doing it. That just lets Jamie know there's somebody in the room. You push
Well,
the
that
button,
way-
there's somebody
that
here.
way all
And then
of
Jamie remotes
no.
in and drives
the
it.
Yeah,
army of minions I have in the background can log
Yeah,
in remotely and control
They're controlling
everything.
it all, right? They all.
So, Jamie, you want some sort of interface that has one button. It could be a physical interface, could be some sort of digital interface, where there's a button that says the thing you want. And you just
Yep,
push it.
and you press it, and it just then the secret eyeballs come in.
We can actually do that. We can put that together for you.
Wow. I don't know, but I the future is going to be different. But I don't see it including bespoke AV programmers very much longer.
Well, can I throw an additional
Well,
wrench in this for
Can we
fun?
pause before that? Like very much longer. I think there's going to be some pushback from manufacturers on this.
From some manufacturers.
There will be manufacturers who will
The market's kind
grasp
of going
on
to decide
their
this
thing.
to a degree. I think it might take longer than we think, but I mean, I
saw it already.
inherently agree with you. It's just
And it's strange how some of those who have been pretty rock steady are now opening up these open modules. Be like, well, just copy and paste the thing out of there and put it in here, and it works.
like what Biamp?
Interesting. Well, that could possibly be one.
So,
That,
it's
Biamp was literally showing that off at
Yes.
Infocom. Like, hey,
Right.
if you don't like what this can do, here is
Make a
the
new
entire code base for this. Open it up, drop it into Claude, add your modifications, dump
That's
it back
where
in,
things are going.
and
Well,
let it
and-
recompile so it's now available for anybody else in the future.
And that was one of the nice things about QSys too, is like you didn't have to, but if you needed it for something, for some special event, you just drag in that little Lua box and you copy and paste and off you go. So I find a lot of value in that, and I've been even asking Extron for a while, like ever since they came out with the Python scripting. Give me a little box that I can just copy and paste the little script that I need. Usually you only need a little one. It's just something dumb
right.
that I can copy and paste in there and it just runs in your GUI. Oh, we can't do that. Well, then I guess we're going to move on.
So
It's just one of those things.
Let me ask. Let me just lob it out here, and we'll transition out. Object-based things, is that programming? Here's a box you're drawing a line
Very
How
between the two.
about object-oriented?
Object-oriented. I'm not going to use the word, but is object-oriented programming?
Loosely, yes, because you still have to work your way through it, even if it's a walk-by-walk step way. I was on Steve Greenblatt's show, what is it, Ask the Programmer, and that was my stance. I'm like, it is the basic levels of programming.
Logic flow.
Logic flow.
Right. We're walking through signal and logic. And so, I'm going to say DSPs. I'm not talking about the big processing running it backward. Traditional open architecture DSP object-oriented flow, is that programming?
I don't.
First is then that has to be two. That's why I don't think either of them are. They're
Well, I
configuration.
usually tend to go towards configuration, but I guess ultimately it is programming.
But is it?
Yeah,
It's
There's
interesting. I was
zero
thinking
to
about,
it.
so as you asked that question, I was thinking about how I refer to things. I always refer to a DSP config, but I will refer to,
there's a cultural piece to it. Yeah.
yes, but I will refer to a control system program. So
Yeah.
Oh, I don't know.
I don't know.
We're just arguing words now. Just get it done.
That's all we ever do.
Have we ever not done that? Yes. Things to ponder on.
Justin, are you new to the show?
Yeah. It's all just so easy now.
Well, that,
Completely changed. in the
But that's the
past
fun
year.
of it, right? That we're in a different domain than we once were. Like our goals may be the same, but our tooling has changed.
So let's take this conversation back to the original point about the title that somebody has. If you're hiring a new person, you're creating a new position, whatever it is, and you need someone to kind of own this capability, what is that title? Is there a position that has that title, or do you cast that aside and it becomes part of everyone's responsibility? Or if you want someone who's like, no, this person's going to be the owner of this, but I want everyone else to be cross-trained in it, how are we titling that sort of position?
Cast it aside.
What if we could make it worse?
No.
Well, let's answer Chris's question first.
Yeah. Okay.
Right. So for
Well,
me,
go ahead.
everybody has to do it. So everybody has to do as the configurations. Everybody has to have an understanding how it all works, and then the engineer, the design engineer, who has it, they're the ones helping putting things together. They're the ones usually responsible for interconnects and does it really talk to each other. They're usually that owner expert of the config. But again, I haven't had a programmer in a decade.
Yeah, but what's
so
that title?
Yeah, and I don't know if everyone
and design engineer.
Design. So you have a design engineer now includes all your configurizations.
That's part of their job description. Yes, they're the owner of the tier 4 and 5 level of that.
How many tiers do you have?
At least 17.
Take. Yeah.
As many as it takes.
Yeah, I don't
I
know
only do
about
tier
that.
9 support.
I'm at
Hasn't
tier
gotten here
18,
yet.
but the entire staff is expected to have that modicum of things.
So what do
they
you
shouldn't elevate very often.
This might turn into a different show, but what do you define design as?
Oh boy.
Oh, here
That's
we
a
go.
different show.
Oh, we had this conversation.
Because you said design.
No, we started
engineer is the
to, and we
ones
never got there. And I got some angry emails
configurating
about that.
and
Yes.
programming. Then what are they actually designing? Because that's not design. So what is?
Is it?
There's separation from that. So I'm a design
Is it?
engineer on our campus, and we have our engineers who do all configuration and programming. Then we have our support people.
Okay.
So Justin, I
So
kind of
it's
agree with
that
you there.
clean.
I do not think the same person necessarily. I think there is a lot of crossover. I would not put it on the same person who is responsible for doing the design aspects of a system to necessarily be the person who is owning the configurationizers.
Right. Now, I'm
No,
not
there-
saying there's not cross-pollination there from time to time with redundancy, but primarily, and then looking at accountability and support mechanisms.
Because, for example, like IU does it that way. They want everyone, all the engineers or designers and programmers and all those. I don't like that system. Because some people may be
that gets
great.
a little sketchy.
Well, they may be great at the customer interaction and the design and the clever solutions and all the rest, and they may be
That's
terrible
two
at
different
programming.
skill sets.
Or
Yeah.
vice versa. They may be a really fantastic programmer, but going out on the customer interaction, the needs analysis, determining system designs and all the rest of it, they may be
Exactly.
terrible at it.
Exactly.
I'm just saying, in my experience.
There's that design line.
As somebody who's terrible at both of those things,
me,
that's my
yeah,
experience.
let me jump in. Yeah. So I'm leaning kind of towards Jamie's philosophical approach on this. But as we started this show, we jumped in right away around this UX and like experience piece.
That's more important now.
Is the future tying and moving the programmatic aspect closer to the commissioning side of what's going on? Is it commissioning programming, like sign off? Is that where it kind of sits?
I can more agree with that.
That is interesting.
I don't know.
Right. And our
I
commissioner,
see
our commissioner
those-
is usually the design engineer.
Well, I was going to say
That's
something else
the
when
way
you
it
jumped in
kind of
there.
should be.
I was going to
That's
say
like
the commissioner
checks and
programmer.
balance.
I see a lot of times there's a lot of overlap there between the programmer, configurizer, or whatever commissioning person, because they're in there working on the devices right there, and if they need to make adjustments, changes, whatever.
Yeah, but you need somebody behind them checking to make sure they're not screwing shit up.
So I think
And so whoever designed it should be the one commissioning to make sure it meets all of the criteria that it was designed for.
I think we've all agreed that we believe that programmatically that skill belongs in a lot of different buckets now, and it may not be its own bespoke silo of work.
Correct.
I think the silo.
It's a balance where I agree with Mark, but there also needs to be some accountability and ownership of that. And because when you have, I 100% will
make it a
promise you this,
giant puddle, man.
When
Just
everyone's responsible for something, no
No
one's
one is.
responsible for something. And I found this out a lot in the AV industry, dealing with distribution and manufacturers are like, oh, just send an email to the group and then we'll get you a quote right over.
A lot of AV is already nebulous
We got 12 people looking at this group email. Like,
Yeah,
how
but
do you
everybody's
know? Now you got
assigned
to send
to the
emails
project.
to other emails to figure out who's taking
but why do we
stop it.
why do we hold programming on some special pedestal?
All right,
Do we?
Doesn't need to be.
I
right.
It sounds like the
organizations
five
do.
of us vehemently agree.
Yeah, all
that
of them should do
wherever
all
it
of
may
it.
sit, it's not a silo anymore, and it's not on a
I don't
pedestal.
think so.
Right, but I don't think the accountability thing holds water. I don't think that's the argument that's valid.
I mean, it's part
Like, do you
of
have
the
somebody who has a
variables.
bespoke title responsible for hanging projectors onto mounts?
Well,
Yeah,
a
that's a
little bit,
hangerizer,
maybe,
projectorizer.
depending on who
No,
they
you
are.
don't. They're just the AV technicians, and so I think it is quickly encompassing all of this into that same.
You guys are
realm.
missing a big accountability part to this.
Stop worrying about who to blame.
It's not who to blame.
Then what is it?
It's who's in the room doing the right job at the right time. So if you have a technician or a programmer or a designer that keeps screwing everything up, you have to have metrics to go, we need to talk about some corrective action here.
That sounds like blame to me. Sir.
No, because you're
It
working
does.
on a team.
He's not
It's-
blaming anybody, Mark. He's simply assigning responsibility for problems.
Yeah, you can't just have everybody just doing
I don't-
everything.
The future is a team of utility players, man. It's just
We're gonna
utility
moneyball
players.
this thing together.
Jamie, there is something to be said for
He
that.
gets
It's
on
just-
base, man. That's all that
The
matters.
team is just utility players.
If you have a team of 8 people
I'm
who
telling
have
you.
general skill sets and everything versus a team of specialists, who's more effective?
I think
I've
generally
seen it fall apart over and over and
pretty
over
good.
again. Everybody's responsible for this. We're all a team. We're all
Not
going to
me,
play
I'm
nice.
That's the PM's problem now. They didn't assign the task correctly.
Okay, well, in the last 3 minutes, where do you want to go with this? Because we are way over time. And Larry
I
said
think
he has
we,
to
I think
leave
we
because
agree. I think
apparently
we believe it's more of
dance time.
a distributed service programming. I think it's the final sign off needs to be somebody. I'm not sure what that job title is, but I don't think it's that person working in a programming.
We
coal
need
mine.
a show on policing accountability and how you all deal with it, because I would love to know how you just are like Sesame Street out there and everything's
Got a
unicorns
paddle?
and rainbows.
and a belt over there, and that's what's going
I
on.
don't get
Yeah.
it, man. Like, a
How do you
job
know
is
who to
assigned
hit
to a
the-
person.
Oh, now we're back to assigning things to people.
yeah,
Well, you
anybody that I
do.
decide.
But
Yeah,
we were
Larry,
just
this is
talking
your
about
job
assigning
today.
Things to the whole
Yeah.
group. We just got done with that conversation.
It's
This is
this
No,
whole group
all of them have
responsibility.
the all of them
But
have
the
the
task-
capability.
Just roll us out,
Exactly.
Chris. Just roll us out.
All of them have the capability.
So how many programmers do you have programming one system? Is it
None,
one
'cause he
or
doesn't
the team?
plan
One?
to begin with.
There
They're
it
all
is.
engineers.
There it is.
No, I think you're arguing for us, not against us.
I think we're all vehemently agreeing at this point.
Yeah.
Yes.
No, I'm not.
Until somebody has to be blamed, and then that person's ass is getting
Accountability is real.
So Justin wants to ensure that if there's a problem, he knows who to blame because that's
And how hard to blame them.
If you have 7 mistakes that are the same mistakes in a row, I kind of want to know who's doing it,
That's fair enough. Yeah.
so I can correct the action and let them learn.
So here's what
we
you need
don't
to do,
have
Justin.
those 7 mistakes over and over and
As
over and over again.
As you work through your Claude prompt,
It was my
prompting
friend
programming,
Jiminy. Jiminy screwed it up, but Claude will fix it.
Extron's big thing, and this was like 20 years ago, their big thing was like when you open a config, the first thing you do is put your name in there so we know who did it.
No,
So
it
now
is
that's what you
not.
need to put. You need to put that in
You're
Claude.
going to programming jail, sir.
That's why I
That's
put
right.
Justin's name in all of
That's
my
right. I put Justin Rexing in all my
right.
programs.
If you have 12 programmers and you're programming
All
50
named
rooms, and programmer 1 programs 10 of those rooms, and you're going to set up another 100 rooms to do, and you realize that all 10 of those rooms are a problem, you don't know who did the
That's right.
10 rooms or the other 20 rooms. You don't know
You
who did
know.
what.
You need to
How are you
claim your
going
code,
to fix
buddy.
the problem? You don't know
I
how to
always
fix the
know.
problem.
I
How
think
do you
that's-
know?
But I
think that's
do,
still
because that's
dying on the
labor
hill of-
deployment.
of-
This goes
it's-
back to the projector hanger majiggy or deer.
But you
Right.
said that you're going to assign the task to the team and let the team figure it out like a bunch of ants or something.
Nope.
I don't think
Never
you
did.
said that. I don't think you
Nope.
said that.
That's-
You
That's what
said
you're
that.
alluding to.
The rest of us didn't. I said
That's what
all
you
of
were-
them have the capabilities and all are able to do it.
Justin, I do
Right.
like that concept
That's
though. Of
different.
just putting a bunch of projects down on a table and just leaving and letting other people figure it
Yeah.
out.
It's like
Well, I just
taking
put them on a
broomstick,
whiteboard.
That works.
saying, "Here you go.
Check
you
it off
guys
when you're
figure it
done.
out."
That's right. Yeah.
So I think right now there's still some bias towards programming is overly difficult to do what we're going to do, and there is still a lot of baked in fear of it not being done correctly.
There is
think more and
absolutely there is
more
that.
Moving forward, it will become more commodity tied to everything, and it'll be a shared experience, just like the projector hingamajigger guy out there doing the thing. I think it gets
It's a union
encompassed
gig.
in the general flow of work, and it's another task that's distributed amongst the engineers.
Yeah.
But I'm willing to be wrong. But
All
we
right.
got it.
Any last thought? Because we got nowhere with this.
Mark needs to be wrong. That's my last.
I think
thought.
we
Who's-
agreed there
who's
is
the
no more
programmer?
siloed, just doing only programming behind a locked door somewhere, not involved, never shows up on site, just sends it to a tech who loads the code, and then he somehow remotely troubleshoots.
feeling attacked.
It's called go work for any integrator.
Yeah.
I think we all agree on that model is kind of either dead, passe, or on its way out.
Should be on its way.
We
Should
don't.
be.
It's now part of a shared set of services and skills that people provide, but we don't really agree on who necessarily is providing that and how many people. Is it everybody or only certain folks on the team? So, all right. Well,
Things are changing. Things are changing. I'm probably not going to go out and hire just a unique programmer to do a thing right now. I don't.
I've changed my mind. I'm changing all the titles to
Or
programmer.
everybody's programmer. Yeah, that's.
Well,
Yeah.
now we'll do that for compensation purposes.
Now
there you
you're
go.
on the trolley.
There it is. Okay, we got there.
That's
I heard someone the other day say that they've done that a lot with what was it? They look at how the IT structure is, and they'll put the title interim in, because if you assign someone an interim role, you can do that almost instantaneously without having to go through HR, and then they just let that sit long enough, and the interim falls off.
Ooh, I'll be.
trick loophole.
And there's a lot of little oddities like that in higher ed that can get you there.
Well, because there's this concept of benchmarking against industry, and from higher ed, it's always a challenge because the salaries aren't there, and so it takes forever to get that stuff through. So I understand why people come up with these little workarounds.
Well,
All right, roll out. Are we done?
We're done.
Probably
Did it.
not.
Sorry about that, everybody.
interim overlord.
You get this time back. Never.
Yeah. Sorry.
No refunds.
Yeah.
Thanks for putting up with yet another episode of AV SuperFriends On Topic. You can contact us with questions, topic ideas, or general complaints at avsuperfriends.com.
Nice work, everyone. Sharp broadcast. Really good. Everyone on the floor as well. Really a lot of hustle. I liked it.
The opinions expressed by the AV SuperFriends are solely those of the individuals and do not represent their respective institutions, organizations, companies, or clients.